Any petitions? Honorable. Honorable Banikoro, yeah, go ahead with your petition.
Mr. Speaker, Representative Ibrahim Babajide Obanikoro, representing Etiosa Federal Constituency in the Center of Excellence, Lagos State. I want to lay a petition on behalf of my constituent. Petition is on continued trespass on the properties of Mr. and Mrs. Okoli, Mrs. Bosse Enoma Ibude, and Mr. Agbogiato at Victory Park Estate, Igbokoshu, Lekki Peninsula, Lagos, by the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON. Mr. Speaker, I seek permission to lay this petition.
Yes, please, you may lay your petition.
Thank you.
Any other petition? That'll be all for the petitions. All matter refer to public petitions. Honorable colleagues, there were two matters that came up yesterday, and there's a slight error which clerk, please correct it. The motion on correctional services will be handled by prisons and correctional services. It's actually supposed to be correctional reformatory committee, and the one on by Honorable Agusoye on the primary health care will be handled by health services. Honorable colleagues, last year we created a couple of new standing committees, the host communities, science research institutions, and disabilities. As announced last year, the chairman of the host communities is Honorable Dakor. The membership is Honorable Ikena Elezia, Honorable Muzi Ephraim, Honorable Ibakwa Ben, Honorable Agbedi Frederick, Honorable Ogun Sergius, Honorable Eta Mbora, Honorable Ekpeyong Basi, Honorable Kingsley Oju, Honorable Nkema Bonta, Honorable Ofo, Honorable Chinedu Oga, Honorable Samuel Chinedu Onwaso, Victor Akinjo, Egberongbe Adewale, Taiwo Adewale, Adekoya Adeshegun, Jaha Ahmed Babao, Danladi Tijo Viado, Mashema Ubar Bashir, Umar Ibrahim Potiskum, Mzondu Benjamin, Mohammed Omar Bio, Shehu Saleh Raju, Suleiman Aliu Leri, Mohammed Mahmoud, Amir Tukur, Abdullah Umar Kamba. and Pom Soko. As the host communities, Science Research Institutions, Honorable Olaide Akinremi, Chairman, Mohamed Jafaru Shatima, Mohamed Jafaru will act as deputy. Honorable D.K. Chisom, Honorable Pondi Julius, Honorable Jude Idehem, Isse, Honorable Patrick Ifon, Michelle Haruna, Nyangpa Zakaria Dauda, Abubakar Yunusa Ahmed, Bello Maigari, Fatoba Steve Olushola, Ojerinde Olumide Abiodun, Ajisoro Abimbola, Honorable Obasa Tajuddin, Solomon Marin, Honorable Joseph Bello, Samson Oku, Usman Abdul Karim, Nkole Uko, Honorable Obina Chidoka, Honorable Chike Okafor, Honorable Simon Atigwe, Honorable Aliu Mustafa Ibrahim, Honorable Kabiru Idris, Honorable Gabriel Saleh, Honorable Sani Nazif, Honorable Lododo. That's the Science Research Institutions. Disability is chaired by Honorable Miriam Onoha. Honorable Consul will act as the deputy. Honorable Anthony Afe, Honorable Joe Ejowale, Honorable Frederick Agbedi, Honorable Gogo Bright, Honorable Ekong Nsikak, Honorable Nyakpa Zakaria, Honorable Ahmed Shehu, Honorable Yaya Tango, Honorable Rais Abdul Kadir, Olatubosun Olajide, Honorable Afolabi Rashid, Olalekon, Honorable Oluwatime Adelegbe, Honorable Ganu Abiodun Johnson, Honorable Emmanuel Ego, Honorable Usman Issa, Honorable Samuel Godi, Honorable Bagos Musa, Honorable Doze Nwakwo, Honorable Amadi Dennis, Ezewanko Okudili, Honorable Salisu Isansi, Yakubu Mohamed Bello, Honorable Ahmed Mukhtar, Honorable Ahmed Badao Yusuf, Honorable Kabiru Amadu. Thank you. Um, Sorry, I left out a name in the host communities clerk, Honorable Sanikiri from Jigawa, the host communities. Last year, December, we set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the 19.2 billion railway rehabilitation contract awarded to ESA Contracting Industry Company. The ad hoc committee is as follows, will be chaired by Honorable Nala Rabba, Honorable Mika Ajiba, Honorable Chinedu Martins, Honorable Femi Adebanjo, Honorable Kani Fago, Honorable Lere, Honorable Ezenwako Okudili, Honorable Sumaila Suleiman, Honorable Ahmed Badao Yusuf, Honorable Engineer Sani Bala, Honorable Fulata, Honorable Udil, Honorable Meitala, Honorable Zangodara. Also, last year, set up an ad hoc committee on the need to investigate the governing lease of federal government-owned assets. At that time, it was to be chaired by Honorable Daniel Effiong Asuko. The membership is as follows: Engineer Ganil Johnson, Honorable Bina Chidoka, Honorable Engineer Musa Fagengao, Honorable Julius Pondi, Honorable Rurum, Honorable Moma Goodhead, Honorable Abejide, Honorable Kabiru Idris, Honorable Umar Kamba, and Honorable Ningi. The 2nd of February, we set up the ad hoc committee to investigate and recover monies, assets, and dividends of federal government in privatized public enterprises. That's to be chaired by Honorable Makama, Honorable Adeyemi Ali, Honorable Benjamin Mzondu, Honorable Kabiru Yahaya, Honorable Kolawole Lawal, Honorable Zachary David, Honorable Miriam Monoha, Honorable Usman Abdullahi, Honorable Tijani Zakaria, Honorable Muda Lawal, Honorable Shehu Balarabe, Honorable Zainab Gimba. So we move on to the business of the day. Honorable colleagues, there'll be a meeting of Northern governors with all National Assembly members, emirs, and chiefs. Venue will be in Kaduna, and the date is the 25th and 26th of February. A meeting of Northern governors with members of the National Assembly and National Assembly members from the North, with Northern governors, emirs, and chiefs. 25th and 26th of February. Sorry, Clerk, I left out the name of Honorable Sam Godi in the, just put it there. Sam Goody in the committee headed by Honorable Makama. Committee headed by Honorable Makama. Honorable Abonta, what's your matter of urgent public importance?
Permit me to come. My name is Uzoma Nkim Abontan, the Speaker from Abia State. The Speaker, permit me to come under the 8th Rule 4 of our rules. And of course, other inherent rules as contained in order pertaining to Order 4 and having satisfied conditions of Order 8 Rule 4, permit me to come under that to bring this motion of urgent needs to reverse the executive orders and police directives banning possession and issuance of new licenses of firearms in the spate of escalating cases of insecurity in the country. I move, Mr. Speaker.
Sorry, what was the matter about?
The matter is simple, non-contentious. The matter, the motion, Mr. Speaker, is only asking for, in the spate of escalating cases of insecurity in the country,
Honorable Fulata.
that the ban placed by executive order and the IG of police should graciously be reversed. Mr. Speaker, before this time in Nigeria, people were enjoying licenses to carry some sort of ammunition in the light shotguns for gaming. Mr. Speaker, no license will be given to anybody, has been given to anybody with assault rifles like Kalashnikov, like Arsenals, like M16, like Uzi. Nobody gives you license for that. These are assault rifles. But the then guns that use cartridges had been licensed. Pump actions, double barrels. But those assault rifles, I had mentioned many of such, Baretti and all whatnot, Lugard, so nobody gives you license for it. Only criminals have it illegally or with the military legally. In the rising spate of insecurity, beseeching us now.
Sorry?
Abuse of process for him to raise it under matter of urgent public importance. It's already on the order paper.
It's already on the order paper. This same issue.
6. Yeah.
What item?
Number 6.
Okay, it's already on your.
I'm aware it's on the other paper. I saw it this morning as I read, but it's on that paper. I'm operating under a rule, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I said as I was opening my speech, sir, I have come under 8.4 and other inherent portions of this rules that will enable me to do this. Matter of urgent importance takes priority, superiority, advantage over others. Having seen it and having discussed with you, having made the conditions for me to move under this, we discussed with the Speaker, we spoke, and I came under it. I don't think there's anything that in a rule that says, if it is there, urgency, a Speaker cannot take precedence. I'm aware. Mr. Speaker,
Okay.
I'm ranking in this House, and I know the rules very well. So I'm only saying, may I please be obliged of this advantage of urgency of 8.4 to come in spite of item 6 on the other paper. That's what I just said.
Okay, Honorable Obonta, I don't think it would be right for us to set a dangerous precedent where people will have things on the other paper and still come under urgent public importance. If it's that urgent, 1 hour or 1.5 hours before we get to the other paper will not change the urgency. So we'll wait till we get to the item on the other paper. I was not aware that it was on the other paper because I had not gone through the other paper prior to now. Which is, I guess, my own fault. So we'll step it down, this matter of urgent public importance, until we get to the other paper. Any other matter of urgent public importance? So we'll move on. Wonderful. Honourable members, the first business of the day is presentation of 12 bills. I now invite the clerk to read the short title.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members,
Honourable Maki.
Federal Eye Center, Edo State Establishment Bill 2020, first reading. Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Kurfi Establishment Bill 2020, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2020, first reading. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Election Criminal Tribunal Bill 2021, first reading. Federal University of Environmental Technology Sakpenwa Ogoni Bill 2021, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2021, first reading. National Institute of Oil and Gas Technology and Entrepreneurial Studies Establishment Bill 2021, first reading. Regulations Approval Bill 2021, first reading. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2021, first reading. Legal Practitioners Act Amendment Bill 2020, first reading. Compulsory Free Universal Basic Education Act Amendment Bill 2021, first reading.
The second business of the day is presentation of report of the ad hoc committee on the non-implementation of the pay-as-you-go and sudden increment of tariffs planned by broadcast digital satellite services providers. Standing in the name of Honorable Onyime Idem, honorable members will recall that the matter was referred to the ad hoc committee on Tuesday, 2nd June 2020. The report is ready for presentation. Honorable Idem is invited to present the report.
Distinguished colleagues, my name is Idem Unyime, member representing Ukanafun Urogonam Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to present a report of ad hoc committee on non-implementation of pay-as-you-go and sudden increment of tariffs by broadcast digital satellite service providers. Mr. Speaker, I seek the leave of the House to lay the report.
Please go ahead. Any seconder? Sorry. Let's get a seconder to your motion. Honorable Kolawole.
Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Lawal. I represent the South African Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ogun State. I rise to second the motion moved by Honorable Yime to lay the report. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Williams, lay your report. Third business of the day is presentation of 3 reports of the Committee on Water Resources starring in the name of Honorable Sada Soli. Honorable Sada is invited to present the report.
Honorable Speaker, my distinguished honorable colleagues, I am Sada Soli, representing Jibia Kaita Federal Constituency. Honorable Speaker, that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Water Resources on the need to complete the abandoned Kafinzaki Dam project in Bauchi State. That the House do receive the report of the Committee on Water Resources on the need to address the challenges facing residents of Gurara Dam in Kaduna State. That the House do receive the report of the Committee on Water Resources on the need to complete the abandoned Owena Multipurpose Dam project. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Honorable Makama.
Mr. Speaker, my respected honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Ibrahim Makama Misau, representing Misau Damba Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion moved by my elder brother, Honorable Sada Soli. I so second. Thank you.
Those in against the motion, please say nay. Those for the motion, please say aye. The ayes have it. First order of the day is a motion on need to rehabilitate Okwela Okene Expressway, standing in the name of Honorable Nkiruka Onyejocha. Honorable Onyejocha is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Kiruka Onyejocha. I represent the good people of Isugu Atumu Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. I move a motion on the need to rehabilitate Obela Okene Expressway. The House notes that the deplorable state of Obela Okene Expressway connecting the southeast and south states from the Federal Capital Territory. The House also notes that the state of the road has led to dire economic losses and untold hardship on motorists and commuters who spend days on the road due to its deplorable condition. The House is worried that as the year 2021 rainy season approaches, it reminds us of the harrowing experiences that motorists and commuters go through every year on the road. Of particular note is this Obela Okene portion of the highway. The House is also worried that the state of the road has encouraged criminal activities such as kidnapping and robbery. And if rehabilitation work is not carried out on this portion of the road before the rain sets in. Traveling that route would be a nightmare. The House is also aware that the dualization of Lokoja-Benin Road, Obajana Junction, Benin Section, Phase 1, Obajana Okene, Kogi State has been ongoing project by the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. The House is also aware that the objective of the federal roads development in the country are to reduce passenger travel times, vehicle operating costs, and traffic-related injuries and fatalities. The House is confident that in the face of funding challenges, it is the responsibility of the federal government through the federal ministry and agencies to sustainably maintain and manage the federal roads for the overall benefits of the citizen. The House resolves to urge Mr. President Muhammad Buhari, to direct the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing to commence urgent rehabilitation work on the Obela-Okene portion of the road and mandate the Committee on Works to ensure compliance. I so move.
Any seconder, please. Honorable Aisha Duku.
I'm Honorable Aisha Jibril Duku, Gimbier Duku, member representing Dukuna for the federal constituency. I am from Gombe State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second this very important motion as read by my leader. I so second.
I don't see, it's a disaster motion, I think.
Can I comment?
Yeah, it's an infrastructure motion. So I just put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Second order of the day is a motion on extension of time for the Committee on Public Procurement to conclude its assignment. Standing in the name of Honorable Uju Kingsley. Honorable Uju is invited to move the motion. Honorable Uju, are you here?
Very much, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ujuki Slichima, member representing Ohajebuma, Oguta, Oru West Federal Constituency of Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move the motion for extension of time for the Committee on Public Procurement to conclude its assignment. The House knows that on Wednesday, 10 February 2021, the House passed a resolution to investigate the procurement, staff victimization, and ongoing management problems at Project Development Institute, Proda, Enugu. Aware that the motion was referred to the Committee on Public Procurement, I was given 7 days to conclude its investigation and report back to the House. Concerned that the committee having commenced the investigation will require more time in order to accommodate more submissions as well as interview critical stakeholders who missed the first sitting on Thursday, 17th February 2021. Results to extend the time for the committee for another 2 weeks to enable the committee conclude its investigation on the subject matter. I so move.
Okay, any seconder to that? Honorable no, not Honorable Osby, no. We are a tag team. So, who's that? Yes, Honorable, please. Second. Babatunde. No. It's Honorable Babatunde. Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Lawrence Babatunde. I represent the good people of Ijosa South Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion to be moved by Honorable Uji Kinsley. I support.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Osai, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? Go ahead, you are disturbing the proceedings. Come. Go ahead. Definitely a meddlesome interloper. The third order of the day is a motion on need for proactive measures to prevent the spread of cervical cancer in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Bamidele Salam. Honorable Salam is invited to move the motion.
This microphone is... Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Bamidele Salam. I represent the fantastic people of Ede North, Ede South, Egbedore, Ejigbo Federal Constituency of Osun State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move the motion on the need for proactive measures to prevent the spread of cervical cancer in Nigeria. The House notes that cervical cancer is the most common type of cancer in the African region, which accounts for 22% of female cancers and 12% of newly diagnosed cancers, with about 17 people dying of cancer worldwide. 26 women are estimated to have died of cancer in Nigeria, while every 2 minutes, women die of cervical cancer caused by the human papillomavirus. Worried that the human papillomavirus, HPV, is the most common sexually transmitted infection that has no cure. But there is a vaccine, the HPV vaccine, that can prevent if given a girl or woman before exposure to the virus. Disturbed that in 2017, the World Health Organization reported that 14,089 Nigerian women suffer from cervical cancer annually, making this the second major leading cause of death related to cancer in Nigeria. Aware that the HPV vaccination have helped reduce this deadly disease in developed countries of the world, but it's not part of the national routine vaccination in Nigeria, despite the fact that it is available and its capacity to prevent the cervical cancer amongst girls and women is well established. Cognizant of the fact that the World Health Organization, the WHO, recommends that the HPV vaccine be part of the routine vaccination in all countries of the world, and over 71 countries have included this in their routine vaccination program. The House therefore resolves to, 1, urge the Federal Ministry of Health to add the human papillomavirus HPV vaccine to the list of the national routine vaccination or immunization program in Nigeria. 2, urge the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, the Federal Ministry of Health, and the Federal Ministry of Youth Development to create awareness on the causes, prevention, management of cervical cancer. and the HBV and the vaccine recommended by the World Health Organization. And number 3, to mandate the House Committee on Healthcare Services to ensure compliance. I hereby move the motion, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Sani Maruf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Sani Maruf, NAS, member representing Munjibur Ungogu Federal Constituency. I am from Kano State. I write second the motion moved by my honorable colleague. I so second.
Those in support, please say. No, hold on. Honorable Bamdili is about cervical cancer. Straightforward, right? So let's just put the question. Honorable Sani Maruf, please approach the chair. Approach the chair, Honorable Sani Maruf. Those in support, amendment? What's your amendment? Honorable Sani Maruf, please come.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My amendment is to add to the prayers that the Act on Primary Health Care be amended to include the functions of this vaccination as suggested by him. The problem is that the primary health care its functions is being limited. We brought a bill here to amend it to increase the scope, which passed, but this is not included there. So if we specifically add this in that, then what he's asking for will go to the rudiments and the root of the society as it's coming up. So my amendment is that these vaccinations should be added by as one of the major functions of the primary health care in our society. Thank you.
Any seconder to that? That the Primary Health Care Act be amended to accommodate this motion. Any Honorable Linda, you want to second? Okay, those in support of the amendment say aye. Those against say nay. Ayes have it. So that this is not just a resolution that is passed. Honorable Abonta, let me task you, together with the Chairman Health Services, Honorable Sununu, and the mover of the motion, Honorable Bamidele, and the seconder of the amendment, Honorable Linda, the four of you, please, if you can bring an amendment to the Act as discussed, come together, and in the next couple of weeks, let's have your amendment on the floor. Please. Thank you. Those in support of the motion as amended, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The fourth order of the day is a motion on the need for the regulation of recreation centers in the Federal Capital Territory, standing in the name of Honorable Kabir Idris. Honorable Idris is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleagues, I remain Honorable Kabir Idris, member representing Kura, Madobi, Garumal, and Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, we do appreciate you considering this very important motion today on the floor. It's a matter of life and death that happens to a very young child, late Khalifa Suleiman Garu. The House notes that on the 17th of January 2021, a 10-year-old child, Mr. Khalifa Suleiman, died tragically following a go-kart race incident in one of the amusement parks in Abuja. Nigeria. When a go-kart being driven by another child lost control, rammed into Khalifa Suleiman Garo go-kart. The infant threw him out of the go-kart and he landed on his head, started bleeding and died while being rushed to the hospital. My honorable colleagues, also note that the pre-accident occurred as a result of the carelessness and non-compliance with safety regulations of go-karting, among which, before any go-karting activity, it's mandatory for the participant to wear a proper protective equipment, helmet, caps, and so on and so forth. According to the coach instructor and instructions, when in a go-kart setting, a seat belt must be fastened while seated on the go-kart. Further note that Khalifa Suleiman could have been avoided if the instructor had ensured that he was wearing a protective helmet before getting into the go-kart and that his seat belt was securely fastened. Immediately, go-kart
paper.
It's from the other paper.
Sorry?
Honorable Kabir is not reading from the other paper. Should be asked to read from the other paper.
I believe the motion is on notice.
Yes.
You are moving the motion.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Are you debating already?
No, I'm not debating, Mr. Speaker. I'm just reading.
Okay, just read the motion as it is on the other paper so that members can follow it.
Okay.
And then during the lead debate, you can read of the debate off the top of your head.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Concerned that due to the lack of monitoring and enforcement compliance with the safety regulations, several accidents resulting to injuries and sometimes death has been occurring in some of the parks and centers in Abuja, particularly the go-karting race track, an incident mostly unreported and such no penalties imposed on the faulters and operators. Aware of the possibilities of further injuries, loss of lives, and for fun sakers, particularly children, if authorities and regulators do not beam their searchlights on the activities of amusement parks and recreation centers, ensure that they comply with all safety regulations and guidelines while go-karting. Resolve to observe a minute silence in honor of Master Khalifa Suleiman Garo, or the Federal Ministry of Capital Territory to recognize operations of recreation centers in FCT to ensure full compliance with safety standards, regulations, and guidelines, and ensure that all defaulters face appropriate sanctions and prosecution while necessary. 3, mandate the Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance. I so submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues.
Okay, Honorable Danagudu. Yes. Honorable Danagudu.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Munir Babatan Agundi. I represent Kumbota Federal Constituency of Kano State. I rise to second the motion ably raised by my colleague, Honorable Kabir Idris, on the need for the regulation of recreation centers in the Federal Capital Territory. I so second.
Honorable Idris, what was your prayer in this motion? Microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My prayers are three: to observe a minute silence for the late Khalifa, and also urge Minister of Federal Capital Territory to ensure security and operations in the recreational centers in FCT, so that they can beam their searchlight in making sure, particularly in FCT, we have a department called Fast Recreation Department that actually issue those licenses to those operators. So if we can beam their searchlight on that to make sure all regulations have been and guidelines has been followed before any operations in those areas. And number three is mandate the Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, this is a very important motion, and actually I know that a lot of lives have been lost, not just in the FCT, but throughout Nigeria, based on the negligence of operators, lack of conformity or compliance with safety regulations, and lives are just wasted. So it's a very important motion, and I believe the father of Khalifa came around to the house a couple of times. Well, yes, if I remember correctly. So I think we should amend the motion to, I don't know if there's any amendment to not just restrict this compliance to safety regulations or in FCT, but throughout the country. You'll be surprised the number of unnecessary deaths that occur due to negligence and non-compliance with the laws and rules and regulations. Honorable Dan, do you want to, well, do you let him, I think it's a straightforward motion.
That on that same day, my children went to do the same.
Your children?
Yes, they paid. Then this incident happened, and many others. And unfortunately, the operators refused even to pay them their money. They said they should just go. So this is the kind of impunity they are just infringing on people. So it's a very serious motion. That's my observation.
Okay, those in support of the motion, please say aye. Amendment? Honorable, who has amendment? Honorable Bonta, what's your amendment? Oh yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Uzoma Nkem Abonda. Mr. Speaker, I went through the motion as done, and I wish to add that in the amendment that will add all recreational facilities, both for adults, not for children. Most swimming pools do not have guards. Most swimming pools do not have guards. Crossover, what do you call it? In most expressways, they're supposed to have crossovers. There should be strict enforcement of those. Vehicles kill people every day trying to cross the road. And Mr. Speaker, we can only do this we can't do it for the whole federation because of the constitutional issue that says parks and some recreation belong to local government. But for all federal and Abuja, we should begin there and to put these regulations and make the penalty for you to have a pool without a guard or a life officer and all whatnot. People die without reports and so on. So this motion is only conveying and bringing out the danger, the problem being faced every day. So I think that my amendment is that the restrictions should include all recreational facilities, not just for children, for both adults and everybody. And also first aid materials to be available in such facilities.
Linda.
Speaker, it's just to add to what Honorable Abonta said, because there has to be a distinction between federal and state. So there has to be a distinction between federal and state. So whatever we're going to amend right here has to deal with with agencies under the federal government. That is one. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to add that the Committee on FCT, be also added. And this is actually a very important motion, because it was heartbreaking when I spoke with Honorable Idris. But I'd also like to use this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, if you give me the leave, that this is an important motion, yes, but if you go through our other papers, right, you'll find a lot of motions that are really not necessary. Because, Mr. Speaker, please just indulge me. We are not making the committee's work. There are so many things that if a member has any concern that the member has, the member should take it to the committee. We are bringing everything that the committee is supposed to do. We are bringing it to this hallowed chamber. This is such an important chamber. So what we have, Mr. Speaker, between the Senate and the House, you have a situation where in a week we churn out like 60 resolutions, and there's separation of powers, Mr. Speaker. The executive has its own responsibility. We have our own responsibility. When you churn out like 60 resolutions in a week, Mr. Speaker, are we now trying to do everything for the executive? So I think it's very important that you guide us, Mr. Speaker. It's not everything. Yes, there are roads that are bad. We have security situations. Yes, all of that. It's not everything. If it does not work at the committee level, then it comes here. But everything that happens, I mean, if my cooker spoils in my kitchen, I bring it up to the floor of the House. I think, Mr. Speaker, you need to guide us.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just my point, please, because it's very, very important. But I don't even think we should be having more than 10 resolutions in a year, so that the executive will know that it's not like has the force of law. That is very important. When you churn this out, who's going to implement? Okay,
we'll take the amendment, and then we'll take Chinda's point of order, but so that we don't muddle it up. What was your point of order, Chinda? No. She was seconding Abonta's amendment, and then she now had, you had an amendment, FCT. Well, we cannot include the FCT committee, since if we are agreeing to expand the scope to all of Nigeria, the federal, so we cannot restrict it to FCT. But we've already taken the secondment of your amendment. Chinda, what's your point of order? Then we'll put the question to the amendment after that. Yes, I mean, we just gave a little leeway for Honorable Linda to express her frustration, which is well-founded. Yes. So but in fairness, what she said, I mean, it makes some sense. We can't bring everything and anything to the floor of the House. The motion amendment by Honorable Abonta and seconded by Honorable Linda. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. You have an amendment too? Yes, Honorable Kiru.
It's in line with, my name is Nkiru Kaudejo. I represent the good people of Sukwatu, which federal constituency and from Abia State. It's in line with what Honorable Brad just said. We should include FCT, but for them to investigate this incident and get back to the House within 2 weeks, because during the investigation you may find out a lot of things. So that, because the third prayer said, mandate the committee on legislative compliance. So let them do the investigation first before anybody follow up.
To the investigation to find out what happened.
To find out what happened, and of course, during the investigation, you would have found out that a lot of things are happening, are still happening, and are not doing anything. I think the matter should be investigated.
Honorable Kabir, what you want to? Your hand is up. You want to second or what?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I'm happy there's a lot of deliberations and contribution from other colleagues. I quite agree with some of them. But, Mr. Speaker, that very incident that happened that particular day, I strongly believe FCT has taken a measure on that. to make sure that place is shut down for now until all proper measures has been taken place. And I believe the FCT Minister of States actually pay a condolence visit to the family here in Abuja and ensure that before anything happens, before any other thing happens in that particular site, they have to take all the necessary measures. And part of the amendment you just mentioned, Mr. Speaker, before other colleagues deliberate on that, that we should also consider all other states, not only FCT, which is very important because it's a national issue.
indigenes of the community who believe that it was created by a deity who lives inside the cave. Further note that beyond serving Mr. Speaker, aware that in 2007, the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, includes Ogbunike Cave in its tentative list of treasures to be considered as World Heritage Sites after it was submitted by the National Commission for Museum and Monuments. Also aware that Anambra State government has contributed immensely to the preservation and upgrading of the site, but there are still lots of works to be done to raise Ogbunike Cave to the standards of World Heritage Sites. Cognizance that the country is currently suffering huge revenue losses as a result in the part to the negligence of most of its tourist sites. Like Ogbunike Cave at a time that was countries are trying to devastate their economies to cushion the effect of COVID pandemic. Resolve. Urge the Nigerian Tourism and Development Commission, NIDO, and the National Commission for Museum and Monument to urgently carry out feasibility study on the cave and mobilize resources needed to upgrade the Ogbunike Cave to international standard. Mandate the Committee on Culture and Tourism and legislative compliance to ensure the compliance. Need to influence Transformation Fund. So sorry, Mr. Speaker.
That's okay.
I so move my motion.
Okay, Honorable Zukuli. You want a second? No, let's have somebody, not everybody from Anambra. You're all from Anambra. Honorable Ononuga. Yeah, Anambra now. Let's have it across.
Mr. Speaker, highly respected colleagues, my name is Honorable Otumba Ademu Oriyomi Ononuga. I represent the fabulously united people of Ikene, Shagamu, Remo North. Mr. Speaker, colleagues, I am from Ogun State. I rise to second the motion moved by Honorable Vincent Ofumelu. I so second.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ononuga. It's an infrastructure motion. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Amendment? Okay. Honorable Chinda.
I represent Obiapo Federal Constituency. I'm an Ikoro man from River State. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, to avoid duplication of this type of motion, I think we should amend to give it a generic prayer by adding immediately after and, that is after cave, and all other venerated sites in the country, and and also delete the last line, cave, and amend D to them. The prayer will therefore read thus: urge the Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation, NTDC, and the National Commission for Museums and Monuments to urgently carry out a feasibility study on the cave and all other venerated sites in the country and mobilize resources needed to upgrade them to international standard. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Raju, seconding. He's seconding Chinda's motion. Chinda's amendment, rather.
Mr. Speaker, my name is Wale Raji. I represent the good people of the Federal Constituency of Lagos State. I rise to second the motion, the motion amending the prayers as moved by Honorable Shinda. I so second.
Those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The nays have it. Amendment, Honorable Linda.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My amendment is because I know the importance of Obunike Cave, and I know it's owned by Anambra State for now. So my amendment is that due to the importance of Obunike Cave, that we urge Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation and the National Commission for Museums and Monuments to take it over and urgently carry out a feasibility study on the cave and mobilize resources needed to upgrade the cave to international standards. So this makes them own it as opposed to doing it for the state. That's my amendment.
Okay, so you are saying the NTDC should take over the cave from the state government? Are they allowed to just take over?
Work better for the Obunike Cave and give it more.
Okay, who's seconding the amendment? On what side?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I rise to second the motion as moved by my fellow colleagues. I so second.
Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. Okay, so we'll go back to Honorable Abonta's motion. Which is the sixth order of the day. Sixth order of the day is a motion on the need to reverse the executive order and police directive banning possession and issuance of new licenses for firearms in the country. Standing in the name of Honorable Uzoma Nke Mabonta, Honorable Mabonta is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain once more Uzoma Nkem Abonta. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, earlier on, before the failure of the microphone, you had given a ruling in the alternative, and I weighed it, and I said I was willing to step it down, depending on the lights or the next legislative day being Tuesday. And following the talks of the leader of the House who talked, I'm willing to take it fully at the next legislative day being Tuesday. I plead that you, in accordance with the ruling, to let me take it for Tuesday next week. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Wait a minute. I didn't hear that. You now want to take it on Tuesday?
People don't even know.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There are difference between, Mr. Speaker, thank you for graciously permitting me to talk again. This is a motion I brought, satisfies the conditions for motion on notice and also that on coming under urgency 8.4 and 8.9. It all met the conditions. I don't know why this motion on notice seems to generate some problem. And as an act of God, the lights went off. And then, in your wisdom, Mr. Speaker, am I protected? I'm not protected. As an act of God means something we couldn't control, something not done by us. We don't know what happened, except you are telling me sabotage. If you are saying it's sabotage, then I agree. If it's not sabotage, there's an act of the lights went on. And Speaker in his wisdom gave me an option. And I stood up there and exercised the option. Coupled with the outburst of the leader of the House. And I had a tete-a-tete with him. And I'm affirming that I've agreed to take it Tuesday as has ruled in your wisdom for prophecy. The whole condition had also put me in a manner that is not conducive. I'm not now so composed to take it. But
all right.
Where was the murmuring?
Honorable Bonta,
Yes.
my ruling was not to take it on Tuesday. My ruling was if the system does not come back up today, I didn't even say that it will come up probably in the next 20, 30 minutes. But that if it doesn't come back up, then we can even take it on Tuesday. Now that the system is back up, I think, this is my personal opinion, but if you are applying, you either apply to step it down or withdraw it, or because in the interest of legislative time, because if we bring this back on Tuesday, the other matters that should have come up, that means you have had 2 days. You are here, members are here. If you want to now do some homework, I'm inclined to allow it because it's allowed, but you have to formally step it down. And it will be in the interest, it will be up to the chairman, business and rules, knowing what is on his table to determine whether it's something we can take on Tuesday or not. There are so many pending matters. So I'm inclined to allow you to take it on Tuesday if the House agrees, but legislative time is very, very important as well. And it is the same members that will be here that will be on Tuesday. But maybe you might be able to do some more homework, but I don't know.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker,
yes.
for your advice. Mr. Speaker, your present explanation has provoked me to what I'm going to say now. I'm also entitled to protection by you. How can a whole house leader, the outburst he did in the present is uncalled for? It shows determined fate. It's uncalled for. And if we are in a parliament where we have equal footing, fair hearing, privileges, that shouldn't come from him. On that note, based on your advice, I'm appealing, I'm asking, I'm pleading. Allow me get composed. Take it. I don't step down motions. You know me, this is my fourth Senate here. I don't. I want to converse. Not every motion must pass, but the people must hear what I want to say. But therefore, Mr. Speaker, you are in charge. We have a procedure of talking. I'm protected. So what I'm saying, I need to also compose myself and be in a proper footing to argue it. When you gave your previous ruling to say Tuesday or in the alternative, I got dissuaded and I've lost some line of thought which I had composed to argue it. Do me that favor, give me that privilege to come back here on Tuesday and present the matter. If I do not come, then you will not know. I so plead, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable colleagues, Yes, you're right. I mean, but you should know in the House leader's usual style, he was being jocular about it. He was just having fun. He was just having fun. Uh, but I agree with you that maybe the outburst. Okay. Okay. So what Honorable Abonta has passionately appealed that he take his motion on Tuesday. Honorable Jaha, privilege. Hold on.
Mr. Speaker, as a new member of this honorable house, I'm here to learn, but not to waste my time. I have been following the order paper with keen interest from the beginning of this sitting to now. And one of the areas where I feel is attractive is item number 6, a motion that is going to be moved by a ranking, reliable, dignified member, Honorable Abonta. I respect him because he's a legislator par excellence. He brought the matter because of the level of preparedness and the willingness and the ability to make that presentation. He came under Order 8, Rule 4, to bring it under matter of urgent public importance. On the other hand, the Chairman Rules and Business Committee drew the House attention that is there in the order paper, item number 6. Immediately, you drew the attention of Honorable Abonta that he shouldn't do it through matter of urgent public importance because he's already listed in the order paper. Honorable Abonta accepted that he's going to bring it under listing. And as we are fast approaching him to present this motion, there was a technical hitch with the microphone and public address system. Honorable Abonta said, you requested him to present it verbally by using his campaign voice. He said, no, he wants to be heard. He wants Nigerians to hear what he is saying so that at the end of the day, his names will be written in gold because of the importance of the motion. So now the microphone is back. And now he is taking excuse that he is trying to extend the presentation to Tuesday. So as far as I'm concerned, my privilege is being infringed. He has 3 options. 1, to either motion or step it down for further legislative consultation or withdraw the motion completely. So, sir, this is it. He either we vote on it or he should step it down for further legislative consultation, or 3, he should withdraw it completely. Thank you.
I'm actually enjoying this. Honorable Sai, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai Nicholas Osai. I represent Doko Okwanik Federal Constituency of Delta State. Mr. Speaker, you agree with me that the House is ruled by the orders and rules of this great House, traditions and conventions. I'm aware that Mr. Speaker interprets all laws, conventions, and traditions. So the jurisdiction lies on you very strongly because the House has given you that mandate and power. And I believe what is worth doing is worth doing well. The issues that strike this country is issues of arms and ammunition and banditry and Boko Haram all over. We're all seeking to find solutions to these key issues. And we can only find solution through a consensus agreement of this great House. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, looking at the nitty-gritty of what has shaped this country matters a lot. That is why Abonta is seeking the leave of this House and you, who is the presiding officer, that interpret this issue. that it is very, very key and important because some of us are not even aware because it was not published. It was gazetted, but it was not circulated normally for us to read from the beginning of the week, to know what is in the item of the day. Now, Mr. Speaker,
Were the other items we debated before now, were they circulated?
Yeah, because of the value.
And I believe you even contributed to one of them.
Yeah, because of the value attached to this item 6. The value attached to the item 6 is a value that is attached to this country, unity, and so, Mr. Speaker, I feel, in my suggestion, that Abonta has proposed. I am pleading on behalf of everybody to ask Abonta to ask Abonta to oblige by Abonta's prayer.
One second. Chairman Business, was this matter of notice was circulated?
It's on notice.
The
motion is on notice and it has been circulated.
Was circulated.
Yes, sir.
Point of order. Abonta, what's your point of order? What's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My point of order is 8:13.
What page?
Mr. Speaker,
What page?
the page 38. Withdrawal of motions. The last speaker who raised the point said he's here to learn. I appreciate him. I will be willing to teach. 13 says, if I may read, withdrawal of motion. A motion or amendment may be withdrawn at the request of the mover by leave of the House. That is what I thought. Or committee before the commencement of the debate. A motion or an amendment so withdrawn may be made again, but in the case of a motion requires a notice. How have I faulted? You kick-started the request, Mr. Speaker. Said in the time when the act of God happened, I said I'm willing to be heard. Why are they laughing? Okay, when the sabotage happened, we requested.
Your point is well taken. Point of order
I
is well taken.
requested in line with your wisdom, your thoughts.
Yeah, point of order is well
And then I
taken.
said,
Honorable Abonta,
with your leave.
it's okay.
So there's no breach of any privilege anywhere.
But I'm with you.
So
I'm with you.
I plead again that on Tuesday I'll be here live with new notice to take it.
I'm with you. But two things. You see, the point of order you raised is not automatic. It has to be by leave of the House. If you read it, the House has to agree for you to withdraw or disagree. So that is the point of order you have raised. Two, Honorable Abonta, let me ask you this. What is the reason why you want to withdraw? Because you have now agreed that you want to withdraw the motion, which is one of the options that on the table. What is the reason for withdrawing the motion?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Permit me to start the gist of what led to it. I came here fully prepared to do the motion. I had two options, having discussed with you, to come under urgent matter of importance. I also sent it to be on notice. Graciously, it was on notice, unknown to me. I came to do what I satisfied. It was brought on notice. I agreed to wait. I waited. When the time came, we noticed an incident that we couldn't continue. You suggested that you prefer me to be heard and put on notice, on record. I said, fine, I take to it. And you gave an option. Wait till the light is restored, which is now, or Tuesday. Then some certain comments came, which I felt was not good. And I lost my disposition. And I had to do it. And I said, I'm also human. And I said, with this disposition, permit me step it down till Tuesday to take it, probably be on notice. So how have I erred, Mr. Speaker? What I'm still asking, I'm also privileged to ask for what I'm asking for. There are a lot of precedents where motions had been stepped down, not withdrawn totally, withdrawing and stepping down different things. To step down for Tuesday or next legislative day as I could be accommodated. In law, we say so soon thereafter as the court will have time to hear. So soon after that you have time to hear me, list me, I will come. That today, I've exhausted my energy.
Are you stepping down or are you withdrawing?
Stepping down for Tuesday, sir.
So why did you refer us to the withdrawal point of order? If it's what we're doing is stepping down.
Mr. Speaker, he said he's willing to learn that I shouldn't, and he gave me compulsion, 3 options, which like mandatory I must. So I'm telling him that one needs to, that the rule permits you to seek that you cannot, that you can do what you want subject to. So I made my application. Except that tell Mr. Speaker, there are reasons why I won't be obliged as other people have been obliged. Is there any other thing attached to it? Give me Tuesday to come and make my point, Mr. Speaker. I am pleading, I'm asking my colleagues to give me Tuesday to come. It is not compulsory that every motion taken must go to
him to move a motion to withdraw.
So what we'll do is, I will appeal to members to hear him out, but since we're talking procedure, and we have to stick by procedure, I will. You want to add something, Honorable Gina? Please go ahead. What's your...
Thank you, sir. Mr. Speaker, I'm very, very happy being in chambers today. In fact, I think that this is how the chambers of the House should be. But however, before we take a final decision on this, I want to draw attention to the fact that our rule does not expressly provide for stepping down. But by precedent, we had such things happen on the floor of the House. And so we'll fall back to Rule 1-2 of our House rule. So by precedent, a member can rise and apply to step down his motion. Mr. Speaker, we have never put that to vote. It is the presiding officer who takes the decision. And almost 100% that I have been here, such members have always been obliged. However, we want to pray that without acrimony, if our colleague has applied to step down his motion, he brought the motion. There is nothing wrong in allowing him the opportunity to step it down. We will still be in this House. In fact, I told him that I'm not supporting that motion. So we are still here. I see some little acrimony. That is why I prayed for Mr. Speaker to give me this leave to make contributions. So I will urge us to please follow precedent under Order 1, Rule 1, Sub-Rule 2. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, okay, we'll take another 5 minutes on this. Honorable Jah. Honorable Jah wants to learn.
Yes, thank you, sir. Sir, with due respect to previous speakers, particularly our senior colleagues, which I have a strong respect for, we are not asking the mover of the motion to completely not to withdraw the motion. No. What we are saying is, if he is prepared to take the motion down, we are ready to listen. If he is not prepared, he should step down the motion for further legislative consultation, not on Tuesday. Because by stepping it down and putting it on Tuesday is going to affect some other items in our order paper against Tuesday. He should step it down for further legislative consultation, or he should withdraw it completely so that it will not appear any longer in the order paper. This is what we are saying. We are not saying he shouldn't withdraw. He has power. He has the right to step down, but for further consultations, not on Tuesday. Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, in fairness, what I was afraid. One second. In fairness, I was going to say that even if it's a privilege to step down, you don't step down and determine the date you want to come back because it's a privilege. You don't determine the date you want to because there are other matters that are already pending for that day. So the options really, and I want to appeal, and it's by way of appeal, just like Honorable Chinda said and Honorable Bonta said, is to allow Honorable Bonta to step his motion down as opposed to withdraw it, because even withdrawal, Honorable Jaha, you can come back by way of notice to, that's what the rule says. But to step down, pending further consultation and determination of a date that it will come up. But Honorable Fred.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Agbedi Yetemina Frederick is my name. I represent Sagbama Kremo Federal Constituency. I'm from Bayelsa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, let me take it from the concluding comments of Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you are Speaker for every member of this House. And like you have clearly stated, stepping down a motion, withdrawal of a motion still gives the mover, the proponent of that motion, opportunity to come back again. And Mr. Speaker, first, what Honorable Abonta has always requested from Mr. Speaker and the House is protection to come back next week Tuesday. He is not averse to your saying a day other than the Tuesday, Mr. Speaker. And as a member of this House, by privilege, Mr. Speaker, is entitled to your protection. Mr. Speaker, when Abonta was speaking, Honorable Abonta was speaking, he made a comment. And Mr. Speaker, every member in this House holds the leader of the House in high esteem. Is the leader of every member of these green chambers. And when the leader of these chambers makes a negative comment, which he has even repeated to you, that he was expressing a personal opinion. Mr. Speaker, the leader's personal opinion is more than a personal opinion. Whatever position, whatever comment, be it directly or indirectly, that the leader of this House makes has a 70–80% influence on members because we respect him. And if we respect him, we tend to feel that there's danger looming, Mr. Speaker. There's danger looming. We all agree that the motion is to either pass, fail, which is a normal thing in Parliament. And so there was nothing wrong in either the motion being passed by the House or the motion failing to pass. But Mr. Speaker, the leader we all respect made a comment which sends jitters to any member who has a motion or a bill before the floor of this assembly. And that was one of the reasons why Honorable Abonta said, Speaker, protect me. I am not feeling very comfortable the way I came to move this motion. Give me another opportunity and then I will come with the motion. Mr. Speaker, he has that privilege. We all enjoy the same privilege. And so, Mr. Speaker, I urge you to handle this matter with that spirit of a speaker for every member of this House who has a right to come with a motion or a bill. This is my urge to you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Fred. Another point of order? Well, I think it's important that we allow because his name has been invoked and he's calling me. His name has been invoked 2-3 times. So let's hear from the, okay, DS2 is raised. Let's hear from the leader, then the DS, then we'll go to your point of order.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My very respected colleagues, Alhassan Ado Dogwa remains my name. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I represent the people of Dogwa, Tudunwada Federal Constituency. I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I insisted to speak, like you rightly said, because my name has been repeatedly involved in the comments of some other members. Let me take this advantage with every respect to each and every member of this greenhouse, a green chamber, sir, that I am in the first place a member of this house before any other thing. I am on this floor a member representing a particular constituency who also do have their interest. Members should have respect for that in the first place. Mr. Speaker, I'm entitled to speak my opinion under every circumstances. Mr. Speaker, I have entitled to speak the opinion of my people as well. Being the leader of the House does not deprive me from participating in debates and making comments to whatever subjects that are brought before this House. That should be known very clear. With due respect to my brother, and for so many members may not know, Obonta has been a friend to me, a family friend of over 28 years, through my good brother and friend, and of course a boss, Senator Adolphus Wabara, who was the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who was my colleague on the floor of this green chamber in 1992. I have been to their house, their home, severally, slept in Obonta's house for over 3 weeks. 3 weeks in his own house. So I don't have anything against him. But I have to say my opinion. And my opinion still remains the same as a person and is representing my people, that this idea brought about now may have been better for another time, not for in this kind of circumstances where we have generally believed that proliferation of small and medium range arms is quite unproductive to the fight against insurgency and banditry in this country. And if you're talking of official, I am also the ambassador of the government on the floor of the House. I believe that the decision of the government through the President Muhammadu Buhari to ban that thing is well informed and it is in the best interest of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's my position. And if Obonta wants to step it down, he has the liberty to do that. Let me also give reference to what the Deputy Speaker did yesterday.
Yesterday, I was going to say so.
The Deputy Speaker is still the chairman of the Constitution Review Committee. The chairman of the respected Review Constitution Committee, very critical committee of this House, where he got up here to speak in his personal opinion against a matter that was brought, which every one of us knew it was to be referred to him. And he spoke against it. Nothing happened. Obonta, you have the liberty to bring your motion now to be killed or to delay the killing of your motion. And this is my position.
Yes. Okay, so he has covered. Okay. All right, so let us not debate the substance of the motion. If we want to talk about position, we'll talk about position. Honorable Kiru.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Kiru Kaunye George. I represent the good people of Isukwato Mundo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I plead for understanding of every member. I have consulted with my brother Abonta because we are from the same state and we are from Southeast. We have commended you for how you have been handling this matter, and also to state that you said that leader of the House, from his own attitude and the way he behaves, that he's joking about it. So you have even made that comment. So I don't think the comment by Honorable Abedi is necessary at this point because you've cleared that air. So sir, please, I stand here to say that my brother Abonta have stated everything he said here in good faith, without prejudice to anything. And that he's a loyal member of the House and he's a fine lawmaker. And I plead that use your good office to allow him step down this motion for further legislative deliberations, and I don't wish that we continue this discussion because time is fast spent.
All right. Honorable Abonta, you have a point of order?
But after that, I will not speak again. I only want to direct you to 7 of our rules, which says you shall interpret the rules. Issue rule. Yeah, 7, rule 1 or 717. I mean, when I made my application, I made it in the alternative. It's good to be teaching them, so they know. I said on Tuesday or so soon thereafter, as your legislative time will permit. I never said it must be. That's what I said here. If you put me, maybe I was speaking loyally. I said I'm staying now for Tuesday or so soon as legislative time will permit. So 717 directs you to interpret and rules.
All right. Let me just, before we close this chapter, let me just address a comment from Honorable Fred. I think in the last almost 2 years that I've been saddled with the responsibility of speaking, many will attest that I speak for the whole House, irrespective of party. And that's why we have a joint task. So when you keep on making the reference that you speak for the whole House, I just wanted to put that on the record. And that is the only reason why we're still debating this procedure almost in an hour. I could easily have hit the gavel one way or the other. I know my position on this matter. But I've allowed Honorable Abonta has spoken almost 4 times. Everybody has been given the opportunity to speak on this matter. In the last 1 hour, we've dragged it so that we know that it's fair and balanced, and we'll follow the rules. Honorable Abonta knows my position. We've debated this matter privately, one-on-one. He knows my position, but I still allowed him to bring it to the floor. So I do speak for all parties, irrespective of the issues. So, Honorable Abonta, do you want to go ahead and just move your formal application?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain unchangeable, Uzoma Nkim Abonta from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, in view of the circumstances, in view of the debate and all what had transpired in this very motion, I seek and plead with the House for the kind permission to step down the motion to Tuesday or so soon thereafter as the legislative time and confidence will permit me, so that I can come and argue it fully. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So Honorable Abonta has moved that he wants to step down his matter till Tuesday or any other convenient time for the House. And I guess for further legislative consultation. Rather than put the question, let's just accept his application. And Chairman, Business and Rules, you'll let us know, send adequate notice as to whenever it's coming up. So motion step down. Several members are leaving. This motion really, Jaha, so you were right. You came here for one singular purpose. Okay. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I remind you.
Respected colleagues, the 10th order of the day is a motion on need to infuse transformational funds into basic primary health care in Nigeria. Standing now on Honorable Meshelia. Honorable Meshelia is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I represent the good people of Askra Bahau Federal Constituency of Borno State. I stand, Mr. Speaker, to move a very simple motion, but before I do that, I want to congratulate the Speaker and your good self for the maturity and the way you are leading this House. With your permission, Mr. Speaker, my motion is simple. The need to infuse transformational or game-changing funds into basic or primary health care in Nigeria, and the House may wish to note, Your Excellency, that the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, in collaboration with international development partners such as World Health Organization, United Nations Emergency Fund, and Children Alliance, Global Fund for Vaccine Alliance, have strengthened the logistics and vaccine storage capacity in Nigeria, and hence we were able to eradicate polio. Aware that, Mr. Speaker, that provisions of logistics and vaccine storage capacity has helped in eradicating polio, even though only about 80% of the primary health care facilities have this solar drive facility, that is SDDs. Also aware, Mr. Speaker, that primary health care services are to shoulder 70% of healthcare services if we are to have health for all. But these facilities across the nation lack basic human resources and equipment. The House also notes, Mr. Speaker, that many unemployed graduates of health, technology, nursing, and midwifery are roaming the streets. And with the current policy of primary health care under one roof, all senior technical staff of primary health care are supposed to transfer to the State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, which is state service, Mr. Speaker. But these states, most of them cannot even provide or rather pay normal salaries. The House also is aware, Mr. Speaker, that manpower and basic medical equipment are grossly inadequate to make the primary health care centers function 24/7 as stipulated by the policy. The House is worried that primary health care facilities built across the country, either through zonal intervention program, co-capital projects, or state governments or local governments, are lying fallow because of lack of manpower and basic equipment. The House is worried that, cognizant that unless step is urgently taken, the concept of universal primary health care, which should be done 70% by the primary health care facilities, will continue to be a dream. The House, Your Excellency, resolves that and urge the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and Planning to liaise with relevant ministries, departments, and agencies to include a transformational or game-changing funds in the supplementary budget, which is expected to come because of the COVID vaccine procurement. Mandate the Committee on Finance and Appropriation to ensure that such funds, something is done to include it in the supplementary budget. Also mandate the Committee on Healthcare Services to quickly liaise with relevant ministries, departments, and agencies for proper information on what is actually required. Again, mandate the Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure that
the resolutions from these motions are adequately implemented. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Doctor. Your request. Where's your request? Press your request. Press your request. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Dr. Henry Okonachibom, representing the people of Itu, Ibiono Federal Constituency in Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion on the need to infuse transformational funds into basic primary health care in Nigeria, as moved by Honorable Dr. Haruna Amchelia. I so second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Respected colleagues, this is a very straightforward motion, so by I leave, I want to put a question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the enlightenment order of the day is a motion calling for the restoration of 8 state constituencies in Oyo State House of Assembly, standing now Honorable Odebumi Oleshogun Dokum and 5 others. Honorable members, Honorable Dokum is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, Odebumi Oleshogun is my name. I represent the good people of Ugolo Surulere Federal Constituency. I rise this afternoon to call the restoration of the 8th state constituency into Oyo State House of Assembly. The House notes that decision of the Federal High Court of Nigeria, Ibadan divisions on March 8th, on 8th of March 2013, in Attorney General of Oyo State versus Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, which ordered INEC to make the restore 8 state constituency operations forthwith. The House are aware that from the day of judgment to date, no equal or superior court has set aside the court decision, which under reference. Resolved, the House resolved to urge the national. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Disturb that delay in complying with the order of the Federal High Court to make the restore of 8 state constituencies in the Oyo State operation is the violations of the. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. I'm using this. Disturb the delay in complying with the order of the Federal High Court to make the restore 8 state constituency of the Oyo State operational is in violation of the provisions of the section 91 and 115 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, and has unlawfully denied people of Ibadan North 2, Ibadan Southwest 3, Ibarapa Central, Irekpo, Itesiwaju, Oyo East, Saki East, and Surulere State constituency of the right to proper representation in Oyo State House of Assembly. The House resolved approve the restorations of Ibadan North 1, Ibadan Southwest, Ibarapa Central, Irekpo, Itesiwaju, Oyo East, Saki East, and Surulere State constituency as directed by the Federal High Court. Resolution 2, mandate the Independent National Electoral Commission to make the restore Ibadan North, Ibadan Southwest, Ibarapa Central, Itesiwaju, Oyo East, Oyo Saki East, and Surulere State constituency in Oyo State operational, and take effect in the succeeding State Assembly election under the provisions of the Section 115 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended. Mandate the House Committee on Electoral Matter to ensure the compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Any seconder, Honorable Jah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name, Chibok Dambo Goza, is where I represent. I rise to second the motion moved by Chairman House Committee on Information, Honorable Bumi. I so second. Thank you.
Respected colleagues, I believe this is another very straightforward motion. It is about code ruling for INEC to obey code rulings. You have something to add?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Mr. Speaker, it's just that we've made aware of the fact that there's a subsisting judgment, but we don't know if there's a stay. So before we can take a resolution on this matter, we need to know if there's a stay on the matter, not just that there's a judgment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Yeah, like I said in the motions, there's a substantial judgment on this matter that to restore the 8th State Assembly in Oyo State. And since then, the INEC has not complied with this judgment and no any other say of exclusion on it, no. And I've made the copy of the judgment, I've made it available to the clerk.
Colleagues, I don't know, this is a very straightforward motion, and I do know that there are a number of states constituencies that have been faced with the same issue. When I was confiding with a leader, I was asking him whether we could come up with an amendment to take care of every other constituency statewide that have not been given this concession or that have been attended to. I made particular reference to one constituency that I knew about, which also should be aware, because I remember Honorable KJF, that's in the Senate now, moved a similar motion in the floor of assembly. And a number of state constituencies that were taken off, but the chairman House Rules said that there's already a motion that will be taken off the floor, taking care of those or curing those other deficiencies. On that note, we will allow this motion to pass. I think I will now put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the 12th order of the day is a motion calling for the intervention of the ongoing intervention in the ongoing killings, maiming and destruction of properties in Oku Iboku, Itu local government area of Akwa Ibom, standing in the name of Honorable Henry Achibong. Honorable Achibong is invited to move the motion.
I have this one. Use this one.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, I remain Dr. Henry Okonachibong. I speak for the people of each federal constituency in Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, this is a call for an intervention in the ongoing killings, maiming and destruction of properties in Okwiboku, Itu local government area of Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, the House notes that the people of Odukpani in Cross River State have been brutally killing and destroying the properties of the indigents of Okwiboku, a border town in Akwa Ibom State, sharing boundary with Odukpani in Cross River State. The House also notes that the assailants regularly patrol the waterways with gunboats and shoot sporadically into the community such that many are hit by stray bullets and are either mortally wounded or maimed. With this, the fishermen and the farmers are scared of going to the farms, and those that dare go to the farms are either drowned, beheaded, as the case may be, and even cannibalized. Pictures and videos are there as evidence. Mr. Speaker, aware that since 2017, over 300 people have been killed, with their properties destroyed. Some of them killed have been cannibalized, as shown in video footage from a phone that fell from one of their assailants during one of the invasions of Okwiboku. Also aware that because of the regular patrol of the riverbank and the fishing settlements by the assailants, the affected communities and the people cannot access the river for their fishing activities and cannot also access their farmlands for their farming activities. These have brought untold hunger and hardship to the community, the local government and the state at large, as this part of Akwa Ibom State is a major food basket of the state. Mr. Speaker is concerned that because people cannot access the river and their farmlands, which are their only source of livelihood, they have fled their homes because of hunger and insecurity and are taking shelter in some neighboring villages. These have resulted in humanitarian crisis that also needs to be addressed. The House recalls that in January 2017, a motion of urgent public importance on this same issue was moved and passed, following which several meetings had been held between the two states, but the crisis, rather than decrease, has assumed unhealthy dimension and led to the loss of over 300 people from Okwiboku. Informed that there is a Supreme Court judgment that clearly demarcated the boundaries between the two states, and therefore the tension and hostilities between the two states should have ceased. The House is worried that apart from the vandalization and the loss of properties, the continuous killings and the loss of lives and the resultant humanitarian crisis consequent upon the incessant assault by consequent on the incessant assault has resulted in the economic activities of the Okwiboku people and Akwa Ibom State and Nigeria have been greatly affected, thereby worsening the security of the state and that of the nation. The House resolves to observe a minute silence in honor of those killed since the beginning of this crisis. Number 2, mandate the committees on internally displaced persons and refugees, the Emergency Management Disaster Preparedness Agency, NEMA, to liaise with the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to send relief materials to the affected communities to ameliorate the sufferings of the people. 3, mandate the committees on Army, Navy, Police and Interior to liaise with the federal government to set up a joint patrol team of the security agencies on the waterways to beef up security in the coastal area. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Under Nalaraba.
Hassan Nalaraba, I represent the good people of Awedo, Machana Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my respected colleague, Dr. Achibam. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Respected colleagues, again, I believe this is a very straightforward motion, but there's an amendment coming from Honorable Patrick Ifon. Yes, sir. Yeah, Mike. Press the mic. Request. The white button.
I remain Patrick Ifon, representing all the people from Eket, Eket, even on our federal constituency, and from Akwa Ibom State. My amendment, Mr. Speaker, is that we mandate the National Boundary Commission to properly delineate the boundary between the two states at Okwiboku and Odukbani.
Honorable colleague, before I put the question, I will sort of for clarity's sake, because in the body of the motion here, the framer of the motion or the mover of the motion have said that there is a Supreme Court judgment. I believe that Supreme Court judgment is based on what is on ground. If you are now asking them again to go back and do demarcation, to demarcation in which area again? So that we don't have great confusion on the House. If we are respecting Supreme Court judgment, we should go to respect Supreme Court judgment. That's my take. But it's personal. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Member of Parliament Daniel Asupo, representing Akam for Biafra Federal Constituency, and I'm from Cross River State. Mr. Speaker, I would be doing the people of Cross River much disservice if I don't speak about this matter. Because when my brother from Akwa Ibom, which is the state that was created from Cross River, begin to say that the problem is only attack from one side, I don't want to carry the House into the intricacies of the matter. I am not from Odukwane per se, but I have served in the government of Cross River State, and I know the issues very well. The attacks have been both sides. I will have asked that we just take the resolutions that he has asked, because it jointly serves both Cross River and Akwa Ibom to solve the problem. But when we begin to go to Supreme Court judgment, then I will begin to look at it, because there is no defined judgment that should come out of a delineation that was not properly done. Because if delineation were properly done, then there shouldn't have been crisis every time, killing. Either the Okwiboku people will catch a Cross-Riverian police officer who was traveling from Akwa Ibom, behead him. These things have been happening, both sides. These people go for counter-attack and what have you. So, for me, being a statesman and being somebody who believes that Cross River and Akwa Ibom should be won, despite that they took our oil wells and made us more impoverished. But in the spirit of togetherness, I would ask that the House just passes the resolution. But please, let's not go into the issue of Supreme Court. Otherwise, you might see multiple judgments that have come out of these issues. And sometimes judgments do not represent the true reflection of ground. That is not to say that Akwa Ibom doesn't have a deep pocket to get judgment where they want. Not saying that.
Please.
I withdraw.
Thank you.
I withdraw. I take back the statement. So, Mr. Speaker, that would be my suggestion or submission. Thank you very much.
Chairman, House Rules.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Samfulata. I represent Birniwa Krika Sanaguri Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, when yesterday the honorable member approached me with this motion that should be listed urgently, I was a bit hesitant until I saw the video of the killings. Not only the killings, what is more disturbing is that I thought this is not Nigeria. That Nigerian can kill a Nigerian, cannibalize his body and eat. We cannot continue. This thing cannot continue in this Nigeria. That a Nigerian can kill a Nigerian and then cannibalize his body and eat. Like a goat, like cow. This is gruesome. This is most unfortunate. And whatever that can be done, Mr. Speaker, on this motion, to strengthen this motion, to bring an end to this rascality, the barbarism, this is not rascality, it's the barbarism, must do it, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think in trying to end the rascality, that's what I'm saying. Let's avoid controversies and move to at least what will give us a straight path towards getting to that request. And it is on this note I am still insisting that you want to maintain your amendment. Are you still maintaining the amendment?
But if National Boundary Commission comes, they could probably, sitting with the communities, do the right thing.
I will tell you for free. If you are saying that, then you should delete where you are saying we should ask them to respect the people. Are you asking for deletion of that? You can't have two things at the same time that are parallel.
Just add the prayer.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I will add as prayer 4 that we mandate the National Boundary Commission to be invited to properly delineate the boundary between the two communities for Akwa Ibom and Cross River State.
Seconder. Nasru.
Mr. Speaker, my name is Nasir Zangondora. I represent Zango Bore Federal Constituency. I'm from Katsina State. I rise to second the amendment as moved by Honorable Patrick. I so second.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against say nay. That's have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. You have? Yes, leader.
Of course, as Nigerians, we don't want our fellow brothers and sisters to be killed. What I'm saying is, when we are doing things and we make mention of certain things, we also have to be aware. Like if there's a Supreme Court judgment, I haven't seen it and I don't know, right? Because from the body of the motion, you refer to a Supreme Court judgment. There's a Supreme Court judgment. We don't know if it's on the demarcation. And if there is such a judgment, you can't at the same time now say that the boundary commission will go and are they going to overturn the judgment of the Supreme Court? I'm just saying that we should always be aware of what will bring up, because I don't know, so I won't claim to know. I have absolutely no idea. I'm just going by the document before me. You know, so we can't have the two at the same time, conflicts. You know, so we can maybe just forget that there was a Supreme Court judgment. I'm just saying, if we're making a resolution, we have this before us, and we're still saying national boundaries should still go. I don't know. For me, I don't know.
Well, Honorable Linda, maybe if you go through the resolutions, as what he was praying, he carefully, even though he mentioned to us that there was a Supreme Court judgment, but he carefully avoided including in the resolve to respect that one. So that's why I allow the prayer. I don't know. I don't know. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Those against say nay. Let's have it. Respected colleagues, the 13th order of the day is a motion on need to lift the embargo on place on employment by the federal ministry, departments and agencies and the private sector to enumerate the effects of COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Standing now, Honorable Sani Bala. Honorable Bala is invited to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Engineer Sani Bala. I represent Konchi Sanya Federal Constituency from Kano State. The motion is on the need to lift embargo placed on employment by federal ministries, departments, agencies, and private sector to ameliorate the effect of COVID-19 pandemic in the country. The House note that the President, during the budget presentation in October 2019, announced an embargo on recruitment in federal ministries, departments, and agencies, MDAs. Also note that the President recently maintained federal government stand on the existing embargo placed on recruitment in reactions to the devastating effect of the COVID-19 pandemic and fall in global oil prices in Nigeria. Aware that by virtue of its role as one of the major employer of labor in the country, the action of the federal government not to sack or reduce salaries of its workers at the time has been applauded and has no doubt helped to reduce the worsening effect of the pandemic. Also aware that in the attempt to address the adverse effect of the pandemic, the federal government instituted stimulus packages of 65 billion to assist a coalition of private sector operators, a 50 billion naira survival funds for micro, small, and medium enterprises, and another 51 billion guaranteed uptake scheme to save 500,000 jobs, among other interventions. Concern that in view of the projections made by the Minister of Labor in 2018, that Nigeria will record an unemployment rate of 33.5% by 2020, the pandemic had only worsened the situation. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibanjo, alleging that 39.4% million jobs losses were anticipated as of December 2020. Also concerned that as a fallout from the pandemic, the Nigerian Bureau for Statistics reported that the unemployment rate was put at around 27.1% in the second quarter of 2020, the highest on record since 2018, when unemployment rate was put at 23.1% in the third quarter of that year. Disturbed that in addition to the 2 million Nigerians previously projected by the World Bank to become impoverished, a further 5 million Nigerians have been said to be facing poverty as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Also disturbed that given the rate of youth corps members who continue to pass out on completion of the mandatory service year at various intervals, the unemployment statistics in Nigeria show that the most agile working class population in the country remain unemployed. Worried about the dire consequences of youth unemployment in the society under the critical period like this, including poverty as well as rising criminal activities and other social vices, which are currently prevalent in the various parts of the country, as the effect of the pandemic continue to bite harder. And cognizant of the fact that Nigeria, like many other countries, ought to have begun a post-COVID-19 era by implementing measures geared toward revamping the economy and improving other social sectors. Also cognizance of the correlation between unemployment and poverty, as well as propositioning that latter can be reduced to the creation of reproductive unemployment or creating income opportunities for the poor, desirous to consider lifting of embargo on recruitment by the federal government as a means of addressing further decline in Nigerians into extreme poverty. Resolved to 1. Urge the federal government to lift the embargo placed on employment by directing the head of service of the Federation to declare existing vacancies and further direct the Federal Civil Service Commission to embark on recruitment exercise. Second, to also urge members of the organized private sector to fill existing vacancies in order to reduce the rate of unemployment in the country, given the interventions it may have enjoyed from the federal government and other developing partners. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Ami,
His Excellency incoming.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Abdurazak Namdas. I represent the people of Ganye, Jada, Tongo, Maibelwa. I am from Adamawa State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion heavily moved by my colleague. I so second.
Amendment? Honorable Jha, I thought it's a very straightforward motion. Okay.
Amejaha Babao, Chibok Dambo Federal Constituency. My amendment is as follows. Sir? Yes, because of COVID-19, sir. Mandate the Committee on Public Service Matters to ensure compliance of the two prayers above, that is prayer 1 and 2. Mandate the Committee on Public Service Matters to ensure compliance of the two prayers above. That is third prayer. That's the amendment, sir. Yes, Public Service Matter Committee to ensure compliance.
Ningi.
Right Honorable Speaker, sir, my respected colleagues, I am Abdullah Saad Abdul Qadir, representing Ningi Wariji, Federal Constituency of Bauchi State. I rise to second the amendment moved by Honorable Jaha Babao. I so second.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Respected colleagues, the 14th order of the day is the consideration of report of the Committee on Police Affairs on the issuance for the consolidated revenue of the Nigerian Police Trust Fund, the sum of 11,352,457,101 naira 70 kobo, only from the total capital expenditure for the year ending 30th April 2021. All members will recall that the report was laid on Tuesday, 23rd February 2021. Honorable Osman Bello Kumo is invited to move for its consideration.
Honorable colleagues, Osman Bello Kumo is my name, member representing Upper Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Police Affairs on the issuance from the consolidated revenue of the Nigerian Police Trust Fund, the sum of 11,352,457,101 naira 70 kobo, only for the total capital expenditure of their ending 30th April 2021. That the Police Trust Fund total projected income was 34,984,314,243.00, but the Joint Committee recommended 11,354,457,101.70, which is the capital component of the budget, which will terminate by 30th April 2021. While the balance of 23,631,857,141.30 would be rolled over to 2021 budget of the Nigerian Trust Fund. That the purchase of the utility vehicles has been replaced with the procurement of COVID-19 protective kits for the police personnel, amounting to 358,379,191.0. And lastly, that the sum of 553,894,117.7 will be used to procure drugs and medical equipment for the Nigerian police personnel, being among the core mandate of the Nigerian police, was one I so move.
Seconder. Adamawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kwamoti Bitrus Lowry, member representing Numan Jamsa, Lamurde Federal Constituency. I second the motion as moved by Chairman Police to consider the report.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Chairman will apply for the intervention to allow us proceed to consider the other proposal. We were actually supposed to go into committee supply so that we'll carry the two together. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Sanfulata. I represent Borneo Africa Samaguri Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do suspend its relevant rules to dissolve into committees of supply and committee of the call at the same time. I so move. To consider the request, I so move.
Yes, Idris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Kabir Idris, member representing Kura Madobiga Rumalam, Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano State. I rise to second this very important motion, heavily moved by the Chairman House Rules. I so support, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Motion say aye. Against say nay. Let's have it. Let's see, colleagues. The next order of the day is the constitutional report on The fifth order of the day is the constitutional report on the Committee on Public Petitions on the petition by Mohammed Ibrahim and 53 others against the Nigerian Defense Academy on the unlawful withdrawal and relegation of Mohammed Ibrahim and 53 others. Honorable members will recall that the report was laid on Tuesday, 1st December 2020, and Jerry Elagbos is invited to move for this consideration. I'm made to understand Jerry is not around. He has delegated one of his committee members for consideration. Okay, thank you. Bombay.
I'm from Gombe State. I am standing in for the Chairman, House Committee on Public Petitions. I stand to move that the House considers the report on public petition on the petition by Mohammed Ibrahim and 53 others. That the House do consider the report of the Committee on Public Petitions on the petition by Mohammed Ibrahim and 53 others against the Nigerian Defense Academy on the unlawful withdrawal and relegation of Mohammed Ibrahim and 53 others, and approve the recommendations therein, laid on the 1st of December 2020. 1. Urge the Minister of Defense and the Chief of Defense Staff to instruct the Commandant of the respondent, who in this case is the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna, as a matter of urgency, reinstate the following 15 cadet officers who have completed their courses and were graduated but wrongly dismissed. 1. DJ Mohammed, Nigerian Army. YY Bello, Nigerian Army. D.O. Adebayo, Nigerian Army.
I think you are just moving the
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, just the names?
Yep.
Okay.
You can stop at that level.
All right, I so move.
Thank you. Chairman Abi.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Abdulrazak Namdas. I represent Ganye Jada Tongoma Ibolwa. So, Speaker, I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader, move that the House do resolve to the Committee of Supply and the Hall to consider the reports.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Ado Dogwa is my name. Honorable members, I represent Dogwa Tujungwada Federal Constituency. I am from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move as directed that the House do resolve to the Committee of the Whole and Supply to consider the reports. Honorable members, I so move.
Acting Whip. Acting Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I remain on Depot Shegun, representing Surulere Gulu Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion ably moved by the leader of the House. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. House resolved to the Committee of Supply and the Committee of the Whole to consider the reports. Respected colleagues, the report to be considered is that of the Committee on Police Affairs on the issuance from the consolidate revenue of the Nigerian Police Trust Fund, the sum of 11,352,457,101.70 kobo, only for total capital expenditure for the year ending 30th April 2021. I now invite Bello Kumo to give the synopsis of the report.
When we are going for break, it will interest this House to note that this budget of the Police Trust Fund is the first budget since the establishment of the Trust Fund in 2019. And only 0.5% of the Federation account and 0.5% of the VAT is only remitted to the account of the Police Trust Fund. Other sources that we supposed to remit, they do not remit any kobo into the Police Trust Fund account. And that we observe that the Police Trust Fund should expedite action to implement this budget is if approved, which will terminate by 30th of April 2021. Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, we are recommending that the total projected money is about 34 billion. Only 11 billion out of it, which is the capital component, is seeking for the approval of this House, while the remaining about 23 billion should be carried forward to the 2021 budget. Secondly, money that we're supposed to go for utility vehicles should now be used for procurement of COVID kits, and about 533 million will be used for the procurement of drugs and equipment to the Nigerian police personnel who are the end users, which form part of the core mandate of the Police Trust Fund. Let me use this opportunity to passionately plead to our colleagues to kindly approve and grant this budget. Thank you very much.
Respected colleagues, those in favor that recommendation 51 that is the recurrent expenditure of the Nigerian Police Force Trust Fund, totaling 729 billion to 898 729 million 898,118 naira 70 kobo for 2020 has been moved from capital expenditure compared to care of purchase of Buffalo specialized vehicles, which incurred as additional of 190 million to replace the Hilux pickup vans, which I believe to be more durable. Be part of the commission. Say aye. Thank you. Against nay. There is a bit. That the remaining balance of totaling about 533 million 894,117 naira 70 kobo will be used for the purchase of drugs and medical equipment. Be part of the report. Say aye. Against say nay. There is a bit. That the purchase of the utility vehicles have been replaced with procurement of the COVID-19 protection kits for the police personnel amounting to 359,191 naira. Be part of the process. Aye. Against say nay. There is a bit. Nigerian Police Trust Fund total projected income of 34 billion 984 million 314,243 and then the Joint Committee recommended 11 billion 354 million 447 naira 101 naira 7 kobo, which is the capital component of the budget that will be terminated at the 30th April 2021 because of the, and then the remaining balance of 223 billion 631 million 857,141 naira 30 kobo be carried over to 2021 budget of the Nigerian Police Trust Fund. Be part of recommendation. Say aye. Against say nay. Let's have it. The summary recommendations in the table below, that the provisions of a specialized operational vehicles double cabinet pickup van 7 billion 600 million carried. Procurement of arms and ammunition 1 billion naira carried. Protection gear, bulletproof vest and helmet 469 million 338,550 naira carried. Control equipment, tear gas 1 billion 362 million 814,243 naira carried. Kumo, you are having a new system of writing, I suppose so. What I'm seeing here is different from. Thank you. Provision of the COVID-19 protection kit for police personnel 358 million 379 naira 191 379,191 naira carried. Equipment 533 million 894,117 naira 77 kobo carried. Billion 223 million 426,101 naira 70 kobo carried. Correction. Office furniture, which one is that?
You may be reading it wrong.
Help me with that. Clerk. Office furniture and equipment is under 2020 proposed budget, 29,031 naira. Carried? Thank you. Then total is 11,323,426,101 naira 70 kobo. Carried? What is the correction, sir? I will urge respected colleagues, the report to be considered is that of Committee on Public Petition on petition by Mohammed Ibrahim and 53 others against the Nigerian Defense Academy on the unlawful withdrawal and relegation of Mohammed Ibrahim and 53 others. I invite Honorable Jerry Balagboson, ably represented by Victor Mala, to give us a synopsis of the report.
Yes, sir. Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues, my name is Abubakar Hassan Nalaraba. I represent the good people of Awe Doma and Ghana Federal Constituency. I'm from Nasarawa State, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a report by the Public Petition Committee. I stand for the chairman, Honorable Jerry Alaboso. Mr. Speaker, the House will recall that this report was laid on the first day of December 2020. That the House considered the report of the Committee on Public Petition on the petition by Mohammed Ibrahim and 53 others against the Nigerian Defense Academy on the unlawful withdrawal and relegation of Mohammed Ibrahim and 53 others. Mr. Speaker, the House resolved, or the committee resolved, to urge the Minister of Defense and the Chief of Defense Staff to instruct. Mr. Speaker, the petition was brought to the committee by Mohammed Ibrahim and 53 others who were unlawfully withdrawn and dismissed after completing their years of study at the Nigerian Defense Academy by the authorities of the academy. Reasons based on the academy claimed that they made the dossier review and they were all caught up with 4 to 5 entries which prompted their dismissal. By coming to the committee, we discovered that the students were unlawfully dismissed, having going through the passing out parade, having undergone 5 years course at the academy without any reason for their dismissal. If you are to conduct a dossier review
for a cadet in the academy. I don't think those cadets should be allowed to pass through, to graduate from the academy, going through passing out parade. Their names were listed on those that have graduated. Their names were listed on those that have undertaken the passing out parade and the oath of passing out. So why the dismissal? So we sat down at the committee level, we found out that they were wrongly dismissed. That was what prompted the committee report. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Colleagues, it's about the fate of some young Nigerians that was determined by the Nigerian Defense Academy, having trained them, expended money on them, and then just after graduation, they decided to call them or call them off from the system. This is all about the report. I believe without sentiment, this kind of category could also be a source of problem and add issues into the country. And I want to beg that just do justice to the matter so that this should be absorbed again back into the system. Thank you. The recommendations are so scattered, I don't know. 6.1, the committee urged the House to direct recommendation 6.1, carried. 6.2, carried. 6.3. Move that the House will revert to Plenary to report progress.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable members, I rise to move that this House do revert to plenary to report progress. Mr. Chairman, honorable members, I so move.
Acting Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Oh, you're acting that too. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I second the motion as ably moved by our able leader. So second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. House is hereby to plenary to report progress. Respected colleagues, the House in Committee of Supply considered a report on the Committee on Police Affairs on the issuance from the Constitutional Revenue of Nigeria Police Trust Fund the sum of 11,352,457,101 naira and 100 naira 70 kobo only for the total capital expenditure for the year ending 30th April 2021 and approved recommendations 1, 2, 3, 4, and the summary thereof for implementation. Respected colleagues, the House in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Public Petition on the petition by Mohammed Ibrahim and 53 others against the Nigerian Defense Academy on the unlawful withdrawal and allegations of relegation of Mohammed Ibrahim and 53 others and approved recommendations 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4 be implemented accordingly. Leader, move for the adoption of the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ado Dogwa is my name. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I represent the people of Dogwa, Tudunwada Federal Constituency from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I rise to move that this report be adopted, and I so move.
Second, honorable Namdas.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Abdurazak Namdas. I represent the people of Ganye, Tongoma, Ebola. I am from Adamawa State. Mr. Speaker, I second the motion moved by the leader of the House. I so second.
Honorable British said I should wish you well. That is wishing you well. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Respected colleagues, an announcement. I would like to notify the Right Honourable Speaker of my admission into the fellowship grade of Nigerian Institute of Powers Engineers. This is as a result of having satisfied the condition as laid in the article and memoranda of association of the institution. Thanks sincerely, yours, Engineer Sani Bala. Engineer Sani Bala wishes to inform us officially that is a member and fellow of the Institute of Nigerian Power Engineers. Congratulations and wish you all the best. Thank you. Respected colleagues, I also want to remind Northern legislators of the meeting tomorrow and Thursday in Kaduna with our governors, emirs, and other political office holders. That's must be going. I know the information came very late, but I still want to plead and urge all of us to try to be in attendance. It has to do with security, development, and issues in our own sub-region. Thank you very much. May I request the House to rise for a 1-minute silence in honor of the people who were lost in Akwa Ibom and Cross River. Thank you. Perfect, please. Thank you. Leader, move for the adjournment of the House to Tuesday next week, 11 a.m.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the Speaker of the House. I rise to second the motion ably moved by the Speaker of the House.